Hello everyone, very good evening. Firstly, we would like to welcome you all to the session, and we are very delighted to have you with us for this automation testing and DevOps everyday learning program of ExcelR. And today we have our product director, Mr. Srinivas, with us. He's going to introduce our ExcelR and who we are. Okay, so thank you, Tim. Thanks for joining the call. Thank you, Srinivas. Over to you.
Okay, so thank you, Leela. So hello everyone. So warm welcome. So for the hands-on training on DevOps and automation testing. Right. So before we get into the details of this training, the topic of this automation testing and DevOps, let me briefly introduce you who we are and why we are conducting these programs. Right. Let me share my screen. Yeah, Leela, can you confirm if you can see the screen?
Yes, Srini, we can see your screen. It is visible.
All right. So the everyday learning program. Okay, so this is especially for students, the faculty members, and then colleges. Let's understand how students, faculty members, and even colleges can get benefit out of this program. Right. So let me give you a brief introduction about ExcelR Solutions. So we have started this company in 2014, right? So by alumnus of IMC, Calcutta, and ISB, Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. The headquartered in US, Houston, and so far we have trained 140,000 participants across the globe on various training programs. Right. So we have training programs on data science, data analytics, artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud computing, project management, right? DevOps, testing, so on and so forth. Right. And so these are the industry partners. So wherein we have given a lot of trainings. So in these companies, employees of these companies and also our alumnus, so that the students who got trained from us, so are working in these companies. And few of our academic partners, so we've conducted trainings in association with APSSDC. This is a government entity from Andhra Pradesh, and TASK. These also the State Skills Development Corporation from Telangana, and the academic partners, so Ranchi IIM and so the academic partners. So we have conducted a lot of trainings for them. All right. So coming to EDL, so stands for everyday learning. The everyday learning meaning, so if you come to our YouTube channel, so in the evenings, especially from 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., you would find one or the other interesting topics, technical topics, so that are going on by the industry experts. That means you will get a chance to learn every day the new things, right? So that's where we named it as a everyday learning, or in short, EDL. So the main objectives of this EDL is to provide application-oriented training. It's not only just theoretical training, but application-oriented training for students and faculty members from various backgrounds. And also hands-on training. We are going to give you the assignments. We are going to give you a lot of case study as an examples, so that you would understand how these theoretical knowledge can be applied to the industry use cases, industry problems, and help the colleges in fulfilling a few of the NAC and NBA requirements. So from a certain college, the faculty members as well as students are attending these programs. We are going to provide the details of the students as well as faculty members to the college management. So their attendance, their feedback, their examination results, if at all, if the quizzes are conducted for that particular program. So all these documentation will be provided to the colleges so that they can use these documentation in NAC and NBA requirements, right? So that way, even colleges also are getting benefit out of this program. Now, let me give you the detailed overview of this EDL offerings. So start with professional training. We have identified 15 plus technologies, training technologies in the industry. That means industry is looking for resources from these technologies. So be it data science, artificial intelligence, cloud, data engineering, right, DevOps, testing, all these technologies. So the industry is looking for the resources. We have identified such technologies and we are providing so minimum of 30 hours of training for each of on these technologies. Okay, a minimum of 30, it could be 35 or 40. So that way we have planned these technologies. And every month we are conducting at least 2 technologies. So we have rolled out training calendar. So this month we are conducting so DevOps and testing and digital marketing. Next month, 2 more programs. Next month, 3 more programs. So that way, every month we are conducting these trainings by the industry experts, the professionals. So once the training is going on, we're also giving you the assignments and assessments. At the end of the course, we'll supply these questions, right? So to test your knowledge, this test will be conducted by the respective colleges, right? And projects and internship based on the request from the college. So we'll also give you or give the college the projects, relevant projects for certain technologies. So data science, artificial intelligence, testing, AWS, right? For these technologies, we'll give the projects as well to the college, and college in turn can assign the projects to students. And for the students who have successfully completed the projects, we'll provide the internship certificates as well. And then sessions on placement preparation. So we'll be given how to build the resumes, how to attend the mock interviews. All these sessions would be so provided to the participants. We'll conduct sessions on these topics. And then LMS access, the learning management system, LMS. So we have state-of-the-art LMS in place. All these sessions are going to be conducted through our LMS only, right? And all these sessions would be recorded and so made available for you to refer later point of time. Let's say, for example, you have missed one session. So as part of this learning journey in DevOps and testing. So you don't have to worry. So the session will be recorded and will be available for you in LMS. So just you have to log into LMS and you have to, so you can get that, the recorded video. And Leela, so we'll walk you through the LMS access, how to join the session, how to go to the recorded videos, all those things will be. So she is going to walk you through. Right? And then access will be provided for you guys lifetime free, right? Lifetime free access will be provided for you. So industry FDPs. So we're conducting a lot of faculty development programs, right? So the college will take initiative and then we will supply a speaker and so we can conduct the FDP. In the past, we have conducted a lot of FDPs in association with various universities and tier 1 colleges, tier 2 colleges, right? So wherein they'll take up initiative, they will publish the information about that FDP on blockchain, FDP on front-end development or full stack development or data science, right? So they'll invite other college faculty members, and so if the number is 100 to 150, so we are happy to provide a speaker for that 1 week FDP session. And industry webinars. A lot of industry webinars are also being conducted. Today itself, we have conducted one webinar in association with IEEE Pune chapter. So on how effectively we can use data analysis and visualization to analyze the data. So that was a topic today we have conducted. Right? So that way we can conduct the industry webinar as well. Right? So we will provide you a speaker. So for that industry webinar as well. And all these offerings we are providing for free. So neither the student nor the colleges, faculty, they don't have to pay anything. So this is completely for free, right? And all these services are being governed by the MOU, industry MOU. So the colleges have to sign the MOU with us. Then their college student and faculty members can join these sessions for free. And also, we're happy to provide them the LMS access, and all these services can be availed. Right? Even so, the colleges who signed with us MOU will provide the attendance data, the feedback data, right? And then the quizzes data. All these data would be provided to the colleges, and they can use this as part of their NAC and NBA requirement. And also to improve the quality of the training. Okay, so we are taking the feedback every day. Even the attendance also would be considered. So at the end of the session, a feedback form or attendance form would be rolled out, send it to you guys. And so please mention, how did you feel? So how do you feel about the training? Whether so the training is good or certain things have to be improved upon. So this feedback, so we are keep on collecting. So we want to improve. We want to provide the best of the best quality training to the participants, right? So that is where. So we also have got the best trainer. So for this training program as well. So DevOps, right? So Mr. Bhaskar has got a lot of industry experience in implementing these DevOps tools, right? Even for the later also the testing. So we have a trainer called Rajni. So she has got very good expertise and experience in implementing testing practices in real time. Okay, so for what are the technology that we are going to provide, all these technologies are being taught. So by the practitioners who are practicing all these technologies in the industry, right? So that's how. So they can get a lot of real-time examples, real-time case studies, and you can get understanding of these things, how you can apply to the industry. So that is objective, right? So with this note, so I'll stop here, and also a request for the faculty members, if at all your college has not signed the MOU with us, I request you to get in touch with our MOU team. So you can write an email to edl@excelr.com, or you can contact this mobile number. So our team will get in touch with you, or they'll guide you how to do that MOU. Then you are a student and you can also avail this LMS access and all these things, right? And if you have not registered for this program, Amar, you can pose a registration form. I request all the students and faculty members, please register yourself in that registration form so that you will get the LMS access, right? And also the communication for the future programs also will be sent to you on WhatsApp, or email communication will be sent, right? Oh, all right. So fine, Leela, so over to you. That's all from my side. So probably you can walk them through the LMS, the tool, probably for 5 to 7 minutes. Then we can get started.
Sure, Srinivas. Thank you. Hello team, Leela here from ExcelR EDL team. So in order to give you an overview how you can access our LMS dashboard. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen and do confirm me once it is visible. So team, I hope you all can see my screen, right?
Yes, Leela, we can see the screen. You can
Thank
go.
you so much. So team, as you have been registered for this particular automation testing and DevOps program, we would have given you the LMS access, and also you would have received 2 emails from ExcelR. One is that to verify your email. So if you have received this email, if you can click on the link provided over there, you can set your password for the LMS dashboard. And try clicking on that link and set your password by giving your registered email ID. And the second email is to invite you for this particular program. Welcome to automation testing and DevOps. You would have received this second email. So when you click on this link, you will be redirected to the dashboard and you can access it. I'll show you how you can access this too. Okay. And yeah. So team, in your Google web browser, if you can type onlinelearning.excelr.com. You will be able to see a web page like this, where you may see a sign in option. So click on the sign in option and also give your registered email ID and also the password you have set using the mail provided to you or you have received from ExcelR. Okay, so I'm giving my credentials in order to get logged in. And also the password I have set up using the link. So as soon as I enter my credentials, login credentials, I will be able to log in into the dashboard, where I can see the first tab as home. Okay, so in the home tab, whatever the courses I have previously, also we have conducted many EDL everyday learning programs under ExcelR's initiation. So you would have a register for the particular programs as well. You may see all the courses available in your dashboard. Coming to this particular program, you may see a course name called Automation Testing and DevOps in your home tab. And I will show you how you can join the session every day, and also how you can access the recorded sessions and materials. Okay, so firstly, under home tab at your right hand side, you will see a tab called today's session. So if you can see in the today's session tab, you may see DevOps day 1 to join. So if you can click on this join button, you will be able to redirect to Zoom platform where the live session is happening. Okay, so click on this proceed and you can able to join the Zoom session of this particular classroom. Okay, so as I'm already there in the Zoom, I couldn't do it, hence I'm declining it. Okay, so this is the first way to join the session, where under home tab you may see a tab called today's session, and under today's session tab you will see this join option. And second way to join the session is, so you may be seeing this course access called Automation Testing and DevOps, right? So if you can click on this right side arrow, you will be able to see this particular page. So you may see two options. One is curriculum and the second one is meet. So click on this meet, and under the calendar, as it is today 8th August and it is first day of the session, you may see DevOps day 1. So if you can click on join here also, you will be redirected to the Zoom platform. This is the second way to join the session. So either of these two way work. So either you can join from the today's tab or else in the meet. Okay, so coming to this curriculum tab. So team, every day after the session, you can view the recordings available under this folder called sessions and materials. Okay, so if you click on this sessions and material, you will see DevOps EDL program day 1. Okay, so you may be able to see this recording available by tomorrow or else after this session. And if you fail to join Zoom session by any chance, you can come to this curriculum, and when you click on this day 1, you can see the YouTube live happening here. Okay, and coming to these assignments, so once the program is done, we will upload the assignments and you can work on those assignments for your practice. And also after 1 week, we will also upload the solutions to it. You can cross verify. And team, do remember, once the session is done, we will also upload the materials for your reference. Under this sessions and materials tab, you will able to see the video blog, the recorded session available, and also the material which we are going to upload. So you can access these materials and sections recording from this tab called sessions and materials. And from assignments tab, you can access assignments. And team, we highly recommend you to submit your attendance response, so that we will track your details. And also once the program is done, we will calculate your attendance. Suppose if you attend all the sessions, we will take your attendance and we give you participation certificate of this particular program, which is called Automation Testing and DevOps. So if you acquire more than 60% attendance of this particular program, you can expect a participation certificate from us. So we highly recommend you to give your feedback using the link under attendance submission. Okay, so these all tabs will be visible once you log in into the dashboard and go and explore over there. If you have any queries regarding the LMS access, and also if you got stuck somewhere to access all these materials and folders, do drop an email to edl@excelr.com. Our team will help you on the same. Okay, thank you team. And as Srini has mentioned, we have our trainer join the call, Bhaskar, and who has more than 5 years of industry experience. He is going to give you the training on DevOps. Okay, thank you team. So team, those who have not received any emails from LMS saying that you have LMS access, do send your emails to chat window. We will make a note of it and we will give you the LMS access. Okay.
Thank you, Lilia. So should I start?
Yes, Bhaskar, over to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I hope everyone is doing good and everyone is safe and healthy. So in favor of time, so let's get started for the session, guys. So I will be your trainer for next 7 days. And I'm happy to do so. And we will be covering so many technologies. We will be looking at so many different tools. Those are getting utilized in the market nowadays and will be very beneficial for all of you. Definitely. So I hope you are excited enough, all of you. So some house rules I will walk you through. So please let's keep all these sessions interactive so that you can really get benefited from what we are discussing here. Okay, throughout 7 days. If you have any doubts, please use chat window to communicate those doubts. Okay. Hello. I hope. And if you're posting your question, so please make sure that you're sending these messages to everyone. Okay. So that everyone will be able to see the question. Please do not hesitate to ask any question so far. Okay. Let's utilize this time. Perfect. So let's get started then, guys. So first of all, what is DevOps? What do you think? What is DevOps? Please use chat window. What do you think? What is DevOps, guys? Anyone, any idea what is DevOps? You might have heard something, anything. Okay, so I'm looking at few beautiful responses. Okay, someone is saying it is in software development. Okay, development and operations. Okay, development and operations. Beautiful responses. Thank you, guys. What do we mean by development? And what do we mean by operations? So what do you think when you are saying DevOps is a terminology? Basically, it is a combination of development and operations. So what do you mean by development? Improvement in past system. Okay, that is what a development is. And what do you mean by operations? Come on, guys. I'm looking at only selected responses. Please respond. What do you mean by, okay, so development, someone is saying, okay, doing work means development. All right. Developing applications and maintaining it is a development. Okay, very nice. What do you mean by operations then? Performance enhancement, nice responses. Development means doing progress. Okay, in terms of what? Performing task on a particular problems, operations. All right. Please make sure, guys, that you are responding to everyone. When you put your chat, there is an option, send it to me only or send it to everyone. Please send your statements to everyone. Okay, operations, performing. Nice. Operation is performing certain things in order to improve quality. Okay. Development is related to performance tuning. Okay. Development means developing processes, where as operations means maintaining or managing that developed software. Okay. Performance of the developed software. Okay. Making good changes of previous app. Okay. Very good suggestions, guys. Thanks for responding. Very good suggestions. But if you practically understand, let's take a step back and let us go ahead and let us first understand these two terminologies, development and operations. Okay, and what happens, right, when we combine these two things. So first of all, let me tell you one simple scenario. Okay, so nowadays, everyone, almost every organization is going ahead and practically speaking, opting for DevOps, different DevOps tools, DevOps processes, or even DevOps culture, right? So let us understand, if previously, when 10 or 15 years back, when there was no such concept as in DevOps, by that time also things were working out. Yes or no? Correct? Right? When 10 years back, when DevOps was not there, by that time also there were many IT companies, those all companies and organizations were developing software, were developing some kind of improvements, and what all things you have mentioned in the chat, 10 years back also they were doing all these things. Yes or no? Correct? On top of it, it was working too. They were still making some profits, isn't it? Then what is the problem? What is the problem has happened because of that people started using or migrating for DevOps technologies or DevOps tools. What is the problem? There has to be something wrong with the existing situation. Yes or no? Right? So let us understand first that what is the problem. Okay. But before that, let us understand what is development and what is operations and how those people were doing all these things. Okay. So understand one thing. What do we mean by development? So any organization you talk about, there are different processes or different SDLCs. That's what we say, software development lifecycle, right? There are many different software development life cycles, right? Which any organization can follow and which will be very specific to that respective organization. Correct? Now, let us look at what all components are there for any software development lifecycle. So understand one thing. What happens? Very first thing, if you come up with any idea or your client come up with any idea, you gather requirements. Correct? You gather all the requirements which you need to develop. Correct? Then what happens? Can anyone tell me what happens? Once we collect the requirement, what is the next phase in SDLC that we go for? Planning. Okay. R&D. Okay. So basically, plotting, prototyping, yes, very nice examples. So basically what we do, I will call this particular phase as a design phase. Please do not get any kind of misconception. Okay, when I say design, don't think design as an only prototyping certain things for the next phase. No, right? So what does it mean? You may not only will be designing a UI, but at the same time, you might work upon different aspects which are required in according to start the development, right? So what do we mean by design then? Yes, development of UI or UX, or deciding on the database structure, deciding on the architecture of an system, deciding on the infrastructure aspects of the system, deciding on what should be the high level design of the system, what should be the low level design of the system, correct? So all those aspects we design all those things. So that's what we call at a high level as a design phase. And the outcome of the design phase can be different depending upon what sort of project or product you are trying to develop. Right? So once you design it, then basically you are getting ready. You are basically winding up all the preparatory work in according to start the development. Right? So once you start the development, you will be developing some piece of code, or probably you will be going ahead and configuring some infrastructure. You will be creating your databases. There will be so many things you will be doing at various levels. Correct? So now when you talk about this development, once the development is done, generally what you go for? Generally, you will be testing it. correct? Just to make sure that whatever has been developed, it is according to the requirement only, right? Correct, guys? So that's what will be the outcome of testing, right? Once you do the testing, what's going to happen? Basically, you will deploy or deliver that thing, correct? So once you deploy all these things, you will be going ahead and you will be monitoring or supporting the system to keep it healthy, to keep it working all the time, right? So these are all basic phases of any SDLC you are referring to, correct? These are basic building blocks of any software development lifecycle you can refer to. There you can follow waterfall model, you can follow DSDM, which is distributed, or nowadays there is an umbrella terminology which many of the people are using called as an agile, which consists of different process model for different kind of system. Some of them are Scrum, one of them is XP, known as an extreme programming, or Kanban or Scranban, right? So there are these different kind of process models or process frameworks you can use to develop any software or product. But irrespective of any process framework, these are the building blocks, right? These are the building blocks. Now, let's understand when you're following any software development lifecycle, understand one thing. There are different teams which are getting involved in different phases of your SDLC, isn't it? In requirement gathering, probably a different team will be getting involved. In designing team, probably your architecture team or your infrastructure team or your network team or your database administrative team or your development leads may get involved in according to decide that what should happen. Yes or no? Correct? Guys, you're with me? Yep. Cool. Then once the design phase is done, all those people will be breaking out and those will be again getting involved in different kind of activities. Let's say for developing something, your development team actually will be participating or they will be working. In testing phase, actually your QA or testing team will be working, right? For the deployment, your infrastructure or delivery team will be working. In monitoring or support, your application support team will be working, right? Yes or no, guys? Correct? So now, if I ask you what you will call as a development, only the developer who is developing the software, is that only the phase you call it as a development? Or the tester who is doing testing, you will call that as a development? What you will call as a development, guys? Don't you think all those people, all those teams who are getting involved in various phases of SDLC are very critical in according to deliver a working software? Yes or no? So all of them are working actually what they should work upon. Correct? Yes or no? Right? So when you're talking about development is not only the developer is what the developer is doing. Okay, so development is something and every action which is required in according to deliver a working software or according to deploy whatever you are, whatever is expected according to the requirement. Every team member is doing, and all those activities you can consider as an development. For example, your QA team is testing it, right? That is also a part of development. Without that, you won't be able to go ahead. Yes or no? Correct. Now, let us talk about these operations. If this is the development, then what is the operations? Can anyone now can respond? What do you think? What is an operations now? Anyone? Server connection, monitoring, okay. Performance of the developed system, procedure, to perform actions, managing all the phases is an operation. Yes, that is one part. Perform all the tasks in phases. Okay, maintaining. Nice responses. Very good responses. So basically, if you understand what all activities are happening in these all phases, understand one thing. Sorry for that. When let's say you are designing in the design phase, you are designing an infrastructure, right? So basically what you're doing, you are configuring infrastructure, correct? Right? You're configuring your infrastructure. When I'm saying configuring an infrastructure, I mean to say you might be configuring a database server, an application server, an FTP server, your storages. There are many aspects of infrastructure. You might be, or someone might be configuring that manually, correct? Right? Someone is configuring that. In the development, of course, like, unfortunately, this cannot be automated fully, right? So someone has to sit and write down some piece of code, correct? Once it happens, so in your development team, there will be a set of developers, right? There will be more than one person who will be developing this, correct? Or writing some piece of code for some requirements. Those has to be developed, correct? So all those people, what do you think, guys? How you will be able to put down all these things there? Will you be merging it manually? Let's say you have 10 people in your development team. Okay, you have 10 people in your development team. What does it mean? It means that you have 10 copies of your code, isn't it? And you will have to integrate that. Yes or no? Hello, I'm asking. You will have to integrate all those things, all those 10 codes, right? So let's call that phase as an integration or integrate. Okay, so someone has to integrate that, correct? So now tell me one thing, guys. 10-15 years back, there was nothing. So all those people, what they have to do? What they have to do? They have to merge it manually. Yes or no? Who will be doing that? Of course, development team, because those are the technical people in our organization who understand what is the code which has been written and where it has to be merged. Yes or no? Correct? We are talking about the time 10 years back. So by that time, there was no tool, right? So everything has to be done manually. So your developer, basically, right? What they are doing, they are also developing, plus they are also integrating the whatever piece of code they have written, that too manually, right? So for development team, actual work that they have to do is developing a piece of code. But along with that, they are also spending their precious time to do some manual work, which is, in this case, merging the code. Yes or no? Correct? Just like that, testing. By 10-15 years back, there was no testing tools. Everything has to be done manually. Everything has to be tested manually. And if something fails, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Your testing team will give it back to the development team. Yes or no? I'm asking, guys, correct? If the things are not working as expected, right? So what your testing team will do? Your testing team will go ahead and will circle back with your development team saying that, look, whatever you have developed, it is not working as expected or as it should. So you must have to resolve this error, this defect, or this bug. Correct? And then development team will be again working on that, will be again integrating that to manually, and will again send it to the testing team for the further testing or for the confirmation, right? And your testing team now will be again testing it will be again executing the test cases, the scenarios which they have to test. But again, how they will do it? Manually. Yes or no? Correct? So everything is manually. Correct? Now, let's say this time the testing happens successful. The testing becomes successful. So now your testing team will ask your delivery team or whichever team is getting involved for the deployment, they will be asking those people to deploy that working version of the software on respective environment. It might be staging, it might be production, it might be UAT, it might be even RTM, right? So whichever environment you want to deploy it onto. So your delivery team will come into picture and they will deploy it. But again, how they will deploy it? How they will deploy it, guys? Manually. They will take whatever has to be deployed, they will take it and they will simply deploy on whatever environment is required. Correct? Right? Now, once it is deployed, someone will also make sure, someone will also observe, someone will also monitor that infrastructure and that working version where it has got deployed. Yes or no? Someone has to monitor both of the things. Correct? Yes or no, guys? How they will monitor? What do you think? How they will monitor? Is it practically possible that your application team or any developer or any support person will be sitting in front of your computer 24/7 looking at, okay, what is the utilization? How many users are there? Something has to happen. Is it really possible to do that? Practically? No. Correct? So this is where the necessity of something, for now, let's call this as something. The necessity of something comes up, right? So guys, everyone understand till this point in time that every step has some kind of actual work to do and some kind of manual work to do, which is essential, which is critical. We cannot remove it. For example, in development, integration is a manual step, but it is very critical in according to create a working version of the application. So can we remove it? We cannot remove it. It is equally important. But again, it is what is the nature of this manual task? It is repetitive and it eats up so much of time. Correct? At every step, you have some kind of these kind of activities. That's what we say operations. Is this clear, guys? Everyone is clear? Okay, I see there are many responses. Cool. Very good. If anyone has any problem, so you can ask the question. I can see some of the replies. Any doubts, guys, till now? If you have any doubt, please post it on the chat. Okay, so that's what we say, operations. Okay, now if this is the operations, so that's where we will be going ahead. Okay, there are some certain questions, guys. I will address them first. Okay, someone is asking me to talk in Telugu. So we will prefer English here because there are many participants who are from different parts of India, and it will be very difficult for other people to understand. So I will continue in English. I hope you are okay with it. Okay, so could you please repeat what exactly operations is? So basically operations is what? Operations is, let's say, I'll rephrase what I said. Okay. It's, give me a moment. I'll rephrase what I just said. Someone is saying it is a theory part. Okay, it is not in theory, it is an actual concept, right? And practical, yes, unless and until you understand what is the problem, how are you going to understand why we are doing this? You're getting? Okay, so let's move on. So I will explain one more time. So what is operations? So basically, what is development? Let's say your development team is doing the actual coding. So that's what we say development. But at the same time, they are also working on some manual stuff. For example, integrating the things, integrating all the versions of software with the all team members, right? So this is manual stuff. It is not an actual development, right? So this kind of stuff we say operations, and these kind of operations are very critical. Why critical? Because if you do not integrate all of your code, what will happen? Will your testing team will be able to test it? Will they able to test it holistically, completely? No, they will be just testing the one aspect of application, right? Okay, so is this clear? Right? Now, is this clear, guys? Who asked this question? What is in development and what is in operations? Perfect. Now, if this is in development and this is in operations, so now let us understand what we can do. Okay, so for simplicity in design phase, let us assume, okay, let us assume what we're going to do in design phase. We might be configuring an infrastructure or database or so many aspects of an infrastructure, right? In development, we will be actually developing the things. So in according to help us, we need some kind of different tools. This is the reason. That's why there are many different tools emerged out of this necessity. Okay, for example, configuring an infrastructure. Take an example. You're working in an organization and you're working in infrastructure team, and many you are getting many requests every day saying that we want a machine, an application server. Okay, and on that application server, we want to install Linux, we want to install Java, we want to install Tomcat, or we want to install Apache, and there are many similar tickets you are getting every day. Tell me, guys, if you try resolving that every time you are just doing the same task again and again and again and again, isn't it? Correct? So this is exactly why we need some kind of tool which can help us automating this kind of infrastructure and orchestration, right? That's what we say, configuration and orchestration tools. That's where the necessity comes into picture, right? And what are those kind of tools? Let's say Ansible, Chef, Puppet, Terraform, right? Salt stack. So there are these kind of different tools came to an existence, right? To help us configuring and maintaining our infrastructure more effectively compared to manual task. Right? Now, these kind of tools are there. For development, obviously, you will be developing, your development team will be developing. For integration, obviously, to merge your code, to merge your actual piece of code, right? There are some kind of code versioning systems came to an existence. For example, Git, Bitbucket, CVS, right? So there are these kind of version control system came to an existence, so that integration of the code can be done automatically, right? Can be done automatically, right? Now testing. So nowadays also there are many different kind of testing happens. So if I have to explain very shortly, so let's say you have manual testing, you have automation testing, you have penetration testing, security testing, smoke testing, module testing. So there are many different kind of testing. Depending upon your application, you will have to do, right? And now, in according to do so, there are many different tool came to an existence, right? So for example, if you have to do manual automation testing of the UI, there is one popular tool, which is Selenium or Cucumber or Mocha or Kai or Jasmine or Karma. So these kind of different tools came to an existence, which will help you to perform that particular testing automatically. Okay, understood? Now, there are many tools, guys. There are many different tools. I'm just naming few tools in those respective categories as of now. It doesn't mean that we have only these tools. Apart from this also, there are many tools. I'm just naming it. I'm just naming few of them so that because they are so popular. Okay. Now for the deployment, obviously, what is a deployment? Deployment is nothing but putting down your required package on respective environment. Okay. So again, you can use Ansible or the tools or Terraform in according to deploy your things over there, right? For monitoring and support, you have different monitoring tools came to an existence. For example, Nagios, TIG stack, ELK stack, Datadog, right? So there are these different kind of monitoring tools came to an existence. Understood? Okay, why these different tools came to an existence? Everyone? Correct? Yes. So basically, to save time, what does it mean? To automate. How we gonna save time? By automating whatever manual task we had in those respective steps. In those respective manual tasks, whatever time we will be investing, by using these tools, we can save that time. Isn't it? Correct? For example, let me give you one simple example. let's say, please listen to this very carefully. You have some project to be developed, okay, which will take 100 hours. Okay, which will take 100 hours to complete. Now, your team basically working for 8 hours in a day. Yes or no? Right? You're working 8 hours per day, and out of 8 hours, actually for 5 hours, they are working on what they should work upon. And for 3 hours of the day, they are basically doing these kind of operations which are required. Correct? So my question to you is, what do you think? How much time how many days you will need to complete this 100 hours project? How many days you will need, guys? First actual answer I got 20 days, right? It will take 20 days. Why? Because despite you're working 8 hours per day, you are actually spending 5 hours only on the development, right? Rest of the 3 hours, you are working on what? These operations, isn't it? Correct? So it's gonna take 20 days to complete this product or to complete this project. Whereas let us assume whatever manual task you were doing, whatever 3 hours every day you are spending on operations, you automated all those operations using these different tools, right? Using these different tools, you automated them. Okay. Once you automated them, what does it mean? Now, do you need to spend these 3 hours every day on operations? Is it? Do you need to spend? No, because because all those manual tasks, who gonna do that? These tools will be doing that, isn't it? Correct. For example, integration. If your developer is just developing for 8 hours and just commits your code into whatever Git, Bitbucket, or whatever version control system you're using, that particular tool will automatically integrate, automatically will merge that code. Yes or no? So your developer, do he or she needs to spend some time? Is it? No. So your 3 hours every day will be saved for in simplicity, right? So now tell me, just by using all these tools, let's say just by using this Git, I'm giving an example, you saved your 3 hours for development team, and now your development team will be working for 8 hours, that to actual coding. Now with this time saving, how much time you will need to complete this product? How much time, guys? 12 days, 12.5 precisely, right? Correct. So do you understand? With the same people, with the same team, same requirement, you are delivering early, isn't it? Instead of 20 days, you delivered it in 12 days only. Yes or no? With same people, with same skill set, and with same requirements. Correct? Do you understand, everyone? So how it will save your time and why? Now, precisely why DevOps is required. Everyone understand this? Right? So now let's move ahead. Now understand one thing. This is pretty interesting. So please listen to me very carefully. Now understand one thing, guys. Let's say your configuration management is automatic, or you are managing, or you are doing that using these tools. Your integration, you are managing it with this particular set of tools. Your testing, you are managing with these set of tools, right? And so on. So what we did, basically, we automated all the manual tasks within this phase. Yes or no? Correct. Now, if you understand your phases, if you understand these steps, right? What is the nature of these steps? The nature of these steps is the output. Listen to me very carefully. The output of any stage becomes input for the next stage. Yes or no? Correct. Whatever you will design, whatever infrastructure you will design, that becomes input for your development team. That's where they will be developing. Correct. Whatever your development team will be developing, that's what needs to be integrated. Yes or no? Correct. Whatever has been integrated, that's what has to be tested. Correct. Right. Whatever has been tested, that has to be deployed. And whatever has been deployed, that has to be monitored. Yes or no? Correct. Can you do this testing even before deployment phase? Is it? Can you do that? No, it is not possible, right? So the nature of your steps is output of one phase becomes input to the next phase. Correct? But if you practically understand by using all these tools, what you did, guys, you just automated this particular phase. Yes or no? You just automated this particular phase. Correct? Right? Then my question is, who will make sure that the execution must happen in this sequence only? Who will make sure? Who will also make sure that output of this phase needs to be given as an input to the next phase? Who will make sure this? DevOps engineer. Then again, understand, when you are talking about when you're talking about someone human will make sure this thing, what does it mean? You are again asking someone to do manual stuff. Yes or no? If any human, doesn't matter, it is TL, it is DevOps engineer, anyone, whoever will be doing this, if you again ask a human to do this, again you are going back to the old legacy system, right? You are again investing some time in doing some operations, isn't it? Correct? So this is where we need something. We need something who will make sure that the output of any stage has to be given to the next step. Also, that something will make sure that sequence execution must happen in this way only, right? So that's something we call that as an integration server. What is it doing? It is just integrating all these steps. So that's why we call that something as an integration server. And there is one popular integration server, which is Jenkins. And just like Jenkins, you have other integration servers as well, like TeamCity, Circle CI, right? There are many other integration servers, right? Correct? So do you understand, guys? Correct? And now Jenkins will be overseeing these factors using these different tools. You are able to basically, what you are able to do, you are able to do continuous integration and continuous delivery. Correct? You are able to do continuous integration and continuous delivery. And this is exactly what we say it is as an CI/CD pipeline. So this is basically your CI/CD pipeline. Do you understand, guys? Everyone is clear? What is CI/CD pipeline and what it does? Correct? So this is what we say CI/CD pipeline. Okay. So CD stands for continuous delivery or continuous deployment. We will talk more about it at the time of Jenkins. When we will talk about Jenkins, we will talk about it in more details. But for now, just understand CD stands for continuous delivery or continuous deployment. And there is a slight difference between continuous delivery and deployment. We will see those differences and everything at the time when we will see Jenkins practically. All those things we want to see practically, don't worry. Okay. Perfect. So, okay, guys, let's take a quick 10-minute break. Okay, and let's gather back again by 8:20. All right, so that we can continue. Okay, so let's take a quick 10 minutes break. It's 8:10 now. We shall be resuming 8:20. Okay, don't go anywhere. Be on the call, and we will resume by 8:20. All right, and we will continue with the discussion. Thank you. See you at 8:20, guys.
Students, there are a break for 5 more minutes. So please don't leave the meeting. Stay tuned in the meeting.
All right, guys. So I'm back. So let's resume. All of you are here. Hello, guys. You're back. You're here. Shall we start? Shall we resume? Perfect. So someone is asking, can you repeat all the things? Nikhil, you're going to get the recording of this, right? So you will be getting recording of this. So you can always get back to recording and you can listen to all the things all over again. Yeah. I guess that should solve your problem. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, guys, before we move on? Any questions, guys? Yes, no, no questions. Yes, if you have any questions, I'll wait for a few more seconds. Yes, whatever we are discussing, all those things we gonna see practically too. Don't worry about it. We will see how to install all those things too when we will see practical. Don't worry. We are together for 7 days almost. Okay, so don't worry about it. Recordings, you can check with support team, but for sure you're gonna get that. Okay, so I guess, yeah, so those are the questions. I guess I have answered all of them now. So let's start. Okay, so the first thing, now whatever we have seen till now, okay, so basically this is generally people tend to refer this as this is a traditional DevOps, or you can say a basic DevOps. Okay, there are some more tools or there are some more aspects of DevOps. Okay, now let us try to go ahead and let us try to understand them. What are those aspects we are referring to? Okay, so now I will assume that everyone has understood till now whatever we have discussed and what is the necessity of these tools and what those tools will be helping us with and how they will be saving us time and all those things, correct? So I'm assuming that you have understood this. Now, let us start with the next category of the DevOps tools, and which is pretty much interesting. I have been looking at some messages and people were saying Kubernetes and Docker and whatnot, right? So let's talk about those interesting facts. Okay, now, let us assume you have developed one software. So even before assuming that one software, tell me one thing. Are you, all of you are using Instagram or Facebook or something? Every one of you must be using some kind of social media application. Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, something, right? Please respond, guys, quickly. You are using? Yes, yes, you are using. Perfectly fine. Okay, now understand you have developed this particular software, right? You have developed this particular software. Let's assume Facebook or Instagram, whichever social media application you can refer to, you have developed it, right? And you have developed this software something like this. Let us assume this is your social media software which you have developed. Okay. Now, just for explaining you the concept, I will assume that you have developed this software using some kind of technology. Obviously, when you're talking about developing something, you will have to use some sort of language. Yes or no, guys? Correct? Right? So let us assume you have developed this using .NET, or let's say you have developed using Java or Python, any suitable language which you like. You use that and you have developed this thing. Okay. Let's name this thing as in what? Let's call this as on Facebook. Okay. Or let's say, let's call this as on Facebook. Okay. Now, if you understand this, whatever social media platform you're using, can you tell me 5 or 6 features of this social media platform? Right? There must be some features. There must be some things which you have developed. Yes or no? Probably like, post, share, comment, reshare, right? There are so many features this must be having. Yes or no? Correct? Yes. Message, right? Video calls, chatting, right? There are so many features this, right? This product you have developed, this project you have developed, that must be having. and you have utilized this particular platform to develop that. Okay, you have used that. Now understand one important thing. There are two aspects. I want you to understand. First aspect is, please understand this. First aspect is, let's say you tested this application. Your testing team have tested this application, and now you know there are many kind of testing available. There are many types of testings available, right? One of them is stress testing. One of them is stress testing. So what do we mean by stress testing? Basically, you can evaluate that what is the bare minimum infrastructure required if you have to host this application. Okay, if you have to host this application, you will require some kind of server, yes or no? Some kind of application server, some kind of database server you will require, yes or no? Correct? So that application server must have some kind of RAM and some kind of hard disk, isn't it? Right? That server must have something. So why we do stress testing? To decide this, that to decide this, what should be the bare minimum, configuration of that server, because you have to purchase that, isn't it? So if you want to purchase an infrastructure, don't you need to understand what kind of infrastructure you will have to purchase, or you must purchase in according to host this application? Yes or no? Right? Hello, everyone. You're with me? Correct? Now, that's exactly why we conducted stress testing. Okay, that's exactly why we conducted stress testing. Now we came to know about this, that in according to host this platform, bare minimum we need 2 GB RAM. Okay, bare minimum we need 2 GB RAM and we need 20 GB hard disk. That's what the minimum configuration we require. We came to know. Now, my question to you is, what kind of minimum server configuration you will keep? This 2 GB RAM and this 20 GB hard disk is required by your application. It is required by your application. So what kind of actual server configuration you will keep, bare minimum? Any thoughts, guys? Application server means where we host this application. In reality, you type some URL, right? www.facebook.com or mysocialapplication.com. You type some URL, and where it takes you? It takes you to that infrastructure, to that application server where you have hosted this application. Okay. So now, if this is required by your application, understand one thing. For simplicity, let us understand you have used .NET. You have utilized .NET as your language or your technology to develop this. Now, when you talk about .NET, if you have to install .NET, what do you need? If this is your server, now try to visualize with me. This is your server. Okay. What all things you will have on this server? First of all, you will be having what? You will be having operating system. Some kind of operating system will be there. Yes or no? Right? Correct. In case of .NET, which operating system you will use? Microsoft Windows. Correct? Microsoft Windows. So when you're talking about this operating system, understand one more thing. This operating system will be having or this operating system, rather, any operating system is having its own requirements to install, isn't it? If you're talking about Windows, then what is the bare minimum requirement you have? What is the bare minimum requirement you have? At least you will require 4 GB RAM. Yes or no? Correct? 4 GB RAM and probably 30 GB hard disk. That is the bare minimum requirement. Correct? For Windows itself. On top of this, you will be having your .NET framework or Java or Python, whatever it is. Correct? Python, Java, whatever technology platform you have used. Correct? Yes or no, guys? It will also have its own set of requirements. Correct? It will also have its own set of requirement. Correct? It will also require its own something RAM or some hard disk, right? And on top of it, you will be hosting your application. Correct? On top of this, you will be hosting your application, which requires 2 GB RAM and 20 GB hard disk. So in total, what are we talking about? Bare minimum. What should we have? 6 GB RAM, 4 GB for operating system, 2 GB for our application, and then 50 GB hard disk. What is the bare minimum configuration becomes for us? 6 GB RAM and 50 GB hard disk. That is the bare minimum configuration we require for a server. Yes or no? Everyone? Correct? Everyone understood this? How we calculated? Hello, hello? Cool. Now, my next question to you is, right now in the market, if you look at the hardware configuration, can you get a 6 GB RAM or 50 GB hard disk nowadays? Can you get it? Correct. You don't get this, right? 6 GB RAM, there is no 6 GB RAM available, unfortunately, right? So what is the bare minimum RAM we will have to purchase? Just because hardware constraint, what is the bare minimum RAM we have to purchase? 8 GB at least, correct? Because we need 6 GB, so we cannot purchase 4 GB, right? So we will have to purchase 8 GB RAM, correct? Can you also get 50 GB hard disk nowadays? Guys, no, correct? So what kind of hard disk, what is the bare minimum hard disk capacity we will need? Correct? I mean, these are hardware constraints we have, correct? Probably 250 GB hard disk we will have to purchase, right? I'm just assuming. So in actual, despite you need this much, because of dependencies, this much RAM gets added. Because of hardware constraint, this much RAM get added, right? So in total, we will land up purchasing 8 GB RAM and what? Around 250 GB hard disk, for an example. Yes or no, guys? Everyone is with me? Everyone is with me? Everyone is understanding this? Right? Now, think about this very simple scenario. This is a very simple scenario we are talking about. And we are talking about the project which you have developed. Think about this in real life, in industry. Don't you think this scenario will be happening with every application? Rather, the bigger the application, the bigger the unnecessary investment becomes. Yes or no? Correct? Right? So my question to you is, why we should pay extra? If I am in need of 2 GB RAM, why I am paying for unnecessary 6 GB? Why? Isn't it? Don't you think? Correct? These are not future activities. This is something we are talking about, bare minimum requirement, right? So I'm still paying extra, correct? And this scenario will be happening everywhere, isn't it? Don't you think this will be happening everywhere? Right? So this is problem number 1. Okay. This is problem number 1. Okay. Everyone understood this problem? The problem number 1 we are talking about? Paying extra? Right? Okay. So now let us talk about problem number 2. Now understand, this is our bare minimum. This is our bare minimum configuration, right? Now what happened? You develop this software in one particular go only. What do I mean by one particular go? We are talking about you develop this software in and you created one simple deployable package. So let us understand first what is deployable package, something which has to be deployed. So all this feature, when you talked about all this feature, like, share, comment, right? Like, share, comment, or messaging, video call, all those features you are talking about. You develop all those features in one simple deployable package only. Meaning what? You deploy one whole package, you deploy one application only, and all those features will be deployed. Just like you create your own simple jar files or one simple program you write down, you just develop like that only. Okay. And that kind of development, we call this as an monolithic application, where UI, your backend, your APIs, everything has been written down at one centric place only. That's what we say monolithic architectures or monolithic applications. Now, my question to you is, there are so many users coming to your social media platform, right? There are so many features coming to your social media platform. So obviously your application will be having higher load. Yes or no? Correct, guys? Your application will be having higher load. Correct? Right? If it is having a higher load, so now you will have to debug it. You will have to inspect which feature is causing higher load. Yes or no? Is it post? Is it share? Is it video call? Is it chatting? Which feature is having higher load? Because of which feature your application becomes more heavy? You will have to figure it out. Yes or no? Hello, hello. Correct? How can you figure it out, guys? Tell me. Because the application which you have developed, what has happened? How you develop that application? In one, all of the things you have kept in one centric place only. Correct? All of the things you have kept in one centric place only. Can you figure it out now? Can you still figure it out that which feature is like taking more and more load? You cannot. Correct. Right? You cannot figure it out because all the things are common. Every feature is using the same infrastructure. Everything is right. So you cannot figure it out who is using higher or what is causing the load. Correct. So this is exactly why some people came forward and they have developed another way of development. And what is the way? They started developing all these things parallelly, meaning they sliced down their application. They sliced down their application and they started developing small APIs or small working features of an software, right? And that's the approach, what we say microservices or service-oriented architecture. Okay, in that thing, what we do, we will develop one simple API for whom? For login, one API for share, one API for comment, one API for probably video calls, right? We will develop all those different API. And now as they had been developed in differently, I mean, as a separate component of the product. Now, tell me guys, now if something is using the higher resources, can you figure it out as you have bifurcated everything? Correct? You can figure it out, right? Correct? That's what the first benefit you get it from microservices. Okay, but the problem is what? The problem is what? Now to host all those things, tell me guys, will you be hosting all those things on one simple or one common platform again, common infrastructure again? That is again a problem, right? So now this is exactly why we need to host them. We need to deploy them separately. So if you want to deploy them separately, tell me one thing, guys. Tell me one thing. Will you be having individual servers for only login? For one simple API, will you be having one physical server separately? Is it? No, that will be too costly for us, isn't it? If you have 1,000 APIs, what does it mean? We will be having thousands different machines. Correct? If there are 1,000 machines, then their maintenance, their management, their backup, all those things will become so complex to manage, isn't it? Right? Correct, guys? So this is why we need something very lightweight. Correct? And that lightweight thing is nothing but a container. That lightweight thing is nothing but a container. In this container, what we will do, we will simply host one login API or one simple API. Okay. And this particular thing is what? This is nothing but your piece of code, and who will be hosting it? Your container will be hosting it. This lightweight thing, we call it as a container. Okay. So now this container, obviously, now we need something to create a container. Yes or no? Correct? We need some tool to create this container or to run this container. Correct? So this particular, this particular technology or tool which helps us to create container is called as what? Is called as an container runtime. And there are again different container runtimes. For example, Docker, Container D, Cryo. So these are different container runtimes. And what they do, they help us to create and to run containers. All right. Everyone understood this? Okay. Now, what we will do, instead of deploying 1,000 servers, we will be deploying 1,000 containers. Correct? But again, who will manage them? 1,000 containers, who will manage them? And those containers probably will be getting added depending upon load. They will be there will be more containers, right? In future, who will manage them? This is exactly why we also need something else which will help us to manage these containers, right? And those tools, we call them as what? We call them as an container management tools. What we call them? Container management or container orchestration or container management tools. And what are those tools? So first is Docker Swarm, which will help us to manage containers. Okay. And second is Kubernetes. Okay, which is also known as an K8S. Okay, why we call this as an K8S? Very simple. Between K and S, there are 8 alphabets. So that's why K8S as a short form or abbreviation of Kubernetes. Okay. And this container management tool basically gonna help us to manage the containers. Okay. And this is what we say containerization of any product. All right. Yes, those containers can coordinate amongst them. Okay. And the difference between server and container. So basically, a container will be very lightweight and very cost effective and minimize our applications and which are running virtually, whereas servers are physical and of course heavy. All right. So this is what basically we say an advanced DevOps, or you can even consider as an containerization technologies, which falls under DevOps. Okay. Is this clear to everyone, guys? Cool. Perfect. So now that's what basically an introduction to DevOps, what are DevOps terminologies, what all tools are there, how all those tools helps us, why we use them, right? So from tomorrow onwards for next 7 days, what we're gonna see. So by tomorrow, we're gonna go ahead and we will be looking at first Git and GitHub. Okay, practically we will be looking at Git and GitHub. Okay, then we will go ahead and we will look at other technologies. So give me a moment. I will share it with you that what we're going to look at. Perfect. So by tomorrow, we will be looking at Git and GitHub. Then we will be looking at Jenkins. Then we will be looking at Docker. Then we will be looking at continuous monitoring tools and testing tools. And at last, we will be looking at Kubernetes. And brief introduction to every one of them. A very brief introduction to all the tools which we have just talked about. Okay, agenda, is this clear, guys? In next 7 days, what's gonna happen and how this workshop is scheduled? Hello, guys, do you understand? Perfect. You cannot say it's a tool introduction, but yes, we will be looking at the installation and using all these tools practically. We will be developing our own simple application. We will be also deploying them. We will be also setting up our CI/CD pipelines. We will be also monitoring the infrastructures using all those tools, right? And we will also host our containerization. We will also convert one application to serverless and containers using Docker and Kubernetes. Yes, practical demonstration of everything. Okay. In according to understand that, you need to be more vigilant. You need to be very present, which will help you. So CI stands for continuous integration, guys. Okay. Perfect. So that's all for today, guys. Any questions you have, guys? I hope you enjoyed the session. Okay. I tried to keep it very simple, okay, without using any technical jargons. So I hope that every one of you have understood everything and every one of you have enjoyed this session. So please let me know if you have any doubts. I will be here for next couple of minutes. So please help me with your doubts. If you have any doubt, any query. So, okay, superb explanation. Thank you guys. Thank you. Which companies are using DevOps? Okay, so any company who wants to cut down on the cost, now you understood, right? That what DevOps tools are. So basically DevOps tools are nothing but to save you some time and increase the your profits. So any company who wants to go ahead and who wants to do that, those are using DevOps for not only IT, but apart from even IT, there are many companies who are using DevOps nowadays. If I have to tell you, so almost overall DevOps adoption is growing very, very fast. Okay, so someone is asking why we selected 8 GB RAM instead of 6 GB. You didn't got it. Okay, can you please revisit the recording? Recording gonna be uploaded in e-learning section. Okay, and on LMS. So please go ahead and look at the recording. So you will be able to revisit that. Okay, someone is asking, will DevOps will be helpful for future jobs? Yes, definitely. I mean, nowadays, if you look at, everyone is going for cloud and DevOps, right? So the future is very, very bright. Okay, so containers are like virtual environment in Python, but in cloud, no, you cannot say that. Containers are actually virtual thing. Okay, cloud is something you can, for simplicity, if I have to explain cloud is nothing but any cloud you talk about. Cloud is nothing but just a managed service provider. Okay, and they do provide service for not only for storage, for network, for containers, for servers, for everything which you need in terms of infrastructure. Okay, someone is asking why we are creating so many containers instead of one. Okay, I will tell you one simple analogy. Let's say you have three types of food, three different types of food. Let's say you have one veg biryani, you have one non-veg biryani, and you have some kind of like, altogether different food item. Will you be keeping it in one container? I'm asking. Will you be creating in one? Will you be keeping all those food items in one container? You won't, right? You will need one container. Logically, technically speaking, you can put, practically, you can put all these things in one container. But again, those those will be very difficult to manage, right? Getting mixed, right? Your test will get sour. So obviously you will keep it in different containers, right? Correct. It will be messed up. So to avoid that, we go ahead and we launch different containers. And to manage them, we need some kind of container management tool. That is what Kubernetes and Docker Swarm is. SOA means service-oriented architectures. So load balancing is all about monitoring the containers, resource usage, isn't it? Yes and no. Okay, load balancing is not only about monitoring. Basically, load balancing is if you have, let's say, I'll give you one analogy. Who asked this question for load balancing? I will give you one analogy. Let's say you have a one big temple, okay, and there are three different entrances to the temple, and there are many people coming from one entrance only. What you will do? What you will do? You will try to divert some of them to another entrance so that everyone will be able to come in the temple very peacefully, isn't it? So this is what you say load balancing. Okay, monitoring is different. Will we going to learn GitHub in detail tomorrow? Yes, we are going to. Okay. Is container management tool over hardware or operating system? Practically yes and no. We will talk about this more when we will talk about Docker and Kubernetes and Docker Swarm. Okay. So we will be learning GitHub tomorrow. Yes, you can basically integrate containers by 2 container management tools. Yes, you can do that. Absolutely. In DevOps, are we also applying Agile? Agile is an process framework. It's not some kind of any tool or something. It's a process framework. Okay. And DevOps engineers should know all the Agile and DevOps. No. It's a process framework. It is not mandatory, but it will be good if you have a basic understanding of Agile. It's a process framework, how you work basically processes. Okay. Container management tools are similar to server in terms of performance. Yes. Is there any different kind of API integration to them? I do not understand this question. How many DevOps engineer would be in a team when compared to other team members? That depends upon the size of project, and that also depends upon the organization you're talking about. Okay, there are some certain SMEs or small and medium organizations. Okay, what they do, they probably generally keep one centric DevOps engineers team, which can size from even 10 to couple of hundreds, and they are shared with many people. Okay, many projects. And some of the organizations tend to do in a different way. They introduce 3 or 4 DevOps engineer in every development team, depending upon the application size. Okay, it will be helpful if you clearly explain. Okay, what's your question? Is it coding background is required for DevOps? No, not necessary. What is the difference between DevOps and DevSecOps? Okay, we are talking about now and only operations. So this is your DevOps. If you talk about securing your infrastructure and application, then it will become Dev Security Ops, development, security, and operations. Once the pipeline is set up, DevOps role is done. No, it's not the case. DevOps role will not end anywhere. It will be still doing. Yeah, you will be going on and doing so many other things. Okay, we will talk about them over next 7 days eventually. Don't worry. So don't miss to attend the sessions. Okay. And that is all for today, guys. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the session and I was able to answer all of the questions. So thank you. Thank you and have a great day. Thanks for joining today's session, and we will meet tomorrow with GitHub. Okay. So if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to go ahead and bring them tomorrow in the session so that we can talk about them. But tomorrow's session specifically is scheduled for GitHub. So don't miss it, guys. And thank you one more time. Have a nice time ahead and have a good day. And that's all for today. All right. So thank you, guys. Thank you and have a great time ahead. Thanks. Bye-bye.